What made these delicious 10-minute recipes quick treasures worth saving? These simple meals eased busy days and brought families together. Why did such comforting dishes almost disappear? Open-faced hot turkey sandwiches became a post-war staple that brought both speed and comfort to the dinner table. These sandwiches used leftover turkey smothered in rich gravy, served open-faced on a slice of bread, allowing the warm sauce to soak into every bite. The dish reflected the era's practical approach to meals, emphasizing making the most out of leftovers while satisfying hungry families quickly. It was common to see this on weekday dinners when time was short, but a hearty meal was still needed. The gravy often came from pan drippings, adding flavor without requiring extra ingredients, which made this recipe especially valuable during times of rationing or tight budgets. People appreciated that this dish did not require long preparation or fancy skills, making it accessible for cooks of all levels. It also brought a nostalgic connection to holiday meals while fitting the busy pace of post-war life. For many families, it was a quick way to recreate the warmth of a Sunday roast without spending hours in the kitchen. The open-faced turkey sandwich is a perfect example of how simplicity and flavor met in the American home kitchen of the mid-20th century. Ham and cheese roll-ups offered a simple, no-fuss solution to lunchtime or snack needs during the mid-century years. These roll-ups combined thin slices of ham and cheese wrapped inside soft bread or tortillas, providing a quick and satisfying bite without the need for heating or cooking. The appeal lay in their portability and ease of assembly, making them ideal for packed lunches or impromptu snacks. Kids and adults alike enjoyed these nostalgic treats for their familiar flavors and straightforward construction. Roll-ups were a go-to option for busy households, especially when time was limited but nourishment was essential. Often, they incorporated whatever deli meats and cheeses were on hand, making them versatile and budget-friendly. The recipe's popularity endured because it required minimal preparation and no special kitchen tools, allowing even novice cooks to put together a tasty meal in minutes. Beyond convenience, the ham and cheese roll-ups evoke memories of school days and simple family gatherings, carrying a comforting sense of familiarity. They reflect a time when classic ingredients combined in practical ways to meet everyday needs without sacrificing taste. Creamed corn on toast served as a comforting and quick Southern-inspired dish that made the most of pantry staples. This recipe blended tender corn kernels with a creamy sauce, often thickened with butter and milk, poured generously over toasted bread. The result was a rich, warm meal or side that offered both softness and a touch of sweetness in every bite. Creamed corn on toast was favored for its simplicity, requiring little time or complicated ingredients, yet delivering a satisfying flavor. Its roots lay in Southern cooking traditions where corn was a dietary mainstay and stretching meals creatively was common. This dish was especially popular during times when fresh vegetables were scarce, but canned or frozen corn was more readily available. It provided comfort and nourishment with minimal fuss, fitting perfectly into the fast-paced routines of mid-century households. The toast added a pleasant crunch that contrasted with the smoothness of the creamed corn, making it a textural delight. Over the years, it became a nostalgic favorite remembered for its humble origins and dependable appeal. Sloppy Joe sliders captured the spirit of casual mid-century American dining with a miniature take on the iconic Sloppy Joe sandwich. These small-sized versions used seasoned ground beef cooked in a tangy tomato-based sauce, spooned onto mini buns or rolls. The sliders maintained all the messy, flavorful charm of the original dish, while offering a bite-sized option suitable for parties or quick meals. Sloppy Joe sliders reflected the era's growing interest in convenience foods and finger foods that were easy to serve and share. They became popular in homes where families sought fun, informal dining experiences without spending hours preparing food. The recipe was praised for using inexpensive ingredients and stretching ground meat across multiple servings, making it budget-conscious. Its presence at gatherings and potlucks highlighted a sense of community and simple enjoyment. The sliders also represented a culinary evolution where traditional meals adapted to smaller, snack-friendly formats, showcasing mid-century creativity in the kitchen. Cheese and pickle toasties offered a warm, tangy snack that was a common fixture in vintage American cookbooks. These toasties combined melted cheese with pickles, sandwiched between slices of bread and grilled or toasted until golden and bubbly. The contrasting flavors of creamy cheese and sharp pickles created a satisfying balance that made this snack appealing across age groups. Quick to assemble and easy to cook, cheese and pickle toasties became a favorite when a simple yet flavorful snack was needed without fuss. The recipe's enduring popularity stemmed from its use of accessible ingredients and the way it elevated basic staples into a tasty treat. These toasties often brought a sense of nostalgia, reminding many of afternoons spent at home or school with comforting homemade snacks. They exemplify how mid-century cooks combined familiar flavors in straightforward ways to deliver maximum enjoyment with minimal effort. The warm, crispy exterior and gooey filling remain a hallmark of this beloved classic. Baked potato skins with bacon bits provided a clever way to repurpose leftovers into a quick and savory snack during the 1960s. These potato skins used the hollowed-out shells of baked potatoes filled with crispy bacon pieces, cheese, and sometimes onions or herbs. The dish was easy to prepare and offered a flavorful filling option that minimized food waste. By using potato scraps and leftover bacon, home cooks could create a satisfying appetizer or side without requiring extra ingredients. This recipe fit perfectly into the era's growing trend of comfort foods that were both economical and tasty. Baked potato skins gained popularity for their ability to transform simple leftovers into something special, showcasing resourcefulness in the kitchen. The combination of crispy, salty bacon and creamy cheese made each bite indulgent yet approachable. This dish remains a nostalgic reminder of how families made the most out of every ingredient during mid-century America. Egg salad lettuce cups were a fresh, light, and speedy dish that reflected mid-20th century America's fondness for simple egg preparations. These cups used crisp lettuce leaves as natural vessels, filled with a creamy egg salad made from chopped hard-boiled eggs, mayonnaise, and seasonings. The presentation was both practical and appealing, offering a low-carb alternative to traditional sandwiches. This recipe was favored for its quick assembly and versatility, making it a popular choice for lunches, picnics, or light dinners. The use of lettuce added a refreshing crunch that balanced the richness of the egg salad, enhancing the eating experience. Egg salad lettuce cups fit well within the era's culinary trends focused on convenience and health-conscious options, without sacrificing flavor. Families appreciated how this dish combined ease and nutrition in a neat package that could be enjoyed by all ages. It also brought a touch of elegance to simple ingredients, making everyday meals feel special. Quick shrimp cocktail emerged as a popular 1950s appetizer that combined pre-cooked shrimp with a tangy cocktail sauce, offering an elegant yet simple starter. This dish required minimal preparation, as cooked shrimp could be chilled and served with a zesty sauce made from ketchup, horseradish, lemon juice, and Worcestershire sauce. The shrimp cocktail embodied mid-century America's fascination with easy entertaining and accessible luxury. It provided a sophisticated touch to gatherings without demanding hours in the kitchen. Shrimp cocktail's popularity was boosted by the growing availability of frozen and pre-cooked seafood products, which made it feasible for home cooks to offer seafood dishes more regularly. The cold, crisp shrimp paired with a flavorful sauce created a refreshing contrast that was perfect for parties or light meals. Its presentation in cocktail glasses or on platters added to its charm. This dish remains a classic example of mid-century Americana's blend of convenience and class. Mock crab salad offered an economical seafood alternative popular during wartime when fresh ingredients were scarce and expensive. Using imitation crab meat, typically made from processed white fish, home cooks could create a creamy, flavorful salad that resembled crab salad without the high cost. This recipe was particularly valued for its affordability and ease of preparation, requiring few ingredients beyond the imitation crab, mayonnaise, celery, and seasonings. Mock crab salad fit into the era's resourcefulness mindset, allowing families to enjoy familiar flavors despite rationing and shortages. It was versatile enough to be served on sandwiches, crackers, or as a standalone salad, making it a practical choice for lunches and light dinners. The dish reflected how cooks creatively substituted ingredients to maintain variety and nutrition in their meals. Mock crab salad stands as a testament to the ingenuity and adaptability of mid-century American cooking during challenging times. Pimento cheese spread stood as a creamy, flavorful favorite that doubled as a dip or sandwich filling and became iconic in Southern kitchens. This spread combined sharp cheddar cheese with mayonnaise and diced pimentos, creating a smooth yet tangy mixture that brought vibrant color and taste to simple dishes. Pimento cheese's appeal was rooted in its versatility and ease of preparation, making it a go-to for quick snacks, party platters, and picnic fare. Families cherished this recipe for its comforting richness and ability to elevate basic ingredients. It was also budget-friendly, relying on readily available pantry staples to produce a satisfying result. The spread became a cultural staple, symbolizing Southern hospitality and home cooking traditions. Its creamy texture and bright flavor offered a delicious contrast to crackers, bread, or raw vegetables. Pimento cheese spread remains a beloved classic that reflects the warmth and resourcefulness of mid-20th century American kitchens. Tomato aspic salad was a staple of mid-century dinner tables, known for its eye-catching molded presentation and refreshing flavor. This retro dish featured a clear gelatin base that held vibrant slices of fresh tomatoes and often included other vegetables or herbs for added texture and color. It was prized for how quickly it could be assembled, usually requiring just a few simple ingredients and some time to chill. The aspic's firm yet delicate texture made it a contrast to typical leafy salads, offering a unique way to serve vegetables during gatherings or holiday meals. It fit perfectly into the era's fascination with molded foods, where gelatin was used to showcase ingredients in an elegant form. Despite its simplicity, the tomato aspic salad brought sophistication to the table and was often served as a first course or side dish. Its popularity reflected a desire for visually appealing, easy-to-make dishes that required minimal cooking effort. The salad's refreshing qualities made it especially welcome during warmer months, offering a light and cool complement to heartier fare. Tomato aspic remains a nostalgic example of vintage American culinary creativity. The peanut butter and banana sandwich was a sweet and savory classic that found a special place in many mid-century American homes. This simple creation combined creamy or crunchy peanut butter with fresh banana slices layered between two pieces of soft bread, creating a quick, satisfying meal or snack. Its appeal rested on the harmonious blend of the nutty richness from the peanut butter and the natural sweetness and creaminess of the banana. The sandwich was easy to prepare, required no cooking, and could be made in minutes, which made it ideal for busy families or children's lunches. It also offered a nutritious boost, providing protein, healthy fats, and potassium. Over time, this sandwich became a nostalgic comfort food for many, evoking memories of childhood and family kitchens. Its simplicity did not diminish its popularity, as it balanced taste and health better than many other snacks of the era. The peanut butter and banana sandwich exemplifies how basic ingredients combined thoughtfully can produce a timeless favorite that crosses generations. Cheesy spinach dip was a quick, crowd-pleasing baked appetizer that became a common sight at mid-20th century gatherings. This dish typically featured frozen chopped spinach, mixed with processed cheeses such as Velveeta or cream cheese, sometimes enhanced with sour cream, mayonnaise, or seasonings to create a smooth, creamy texture. The dip was baked until bubbly and golden on top, making it perfect for serving with crackers, bread, or raw vegetables. Its quick preparation and use of accessible ingredients made it a favorite for busy hosts who wanted to offer something warm and indulgent without spending hours in the kitchen. The popularity of frozen spinach in this recipe reflected advancements in food preservation that allowed for convenient, year-round use of seasonal produce. Cheesy spinach dip also embodied the era's love of creamy, cheesy dishes that balanced convenience and flavor. It remains a nostalgic favorite for many who recall the warm, comforting taste and simple elegance it brought to social occasions. Quick meatball subs provided an easy way for families to enjoy hearty, flavorful sandwiches without a long wait. These mini meatballs were made from ground beef or pork, seasoned and cooked rapidly, then nestled inside small buns or rolls. The meatballs were typically coated in a tomato-based sauce and topped with melted cheese, combining familiar tastes in a convenient handheld form. This recipe reflected the mid-century American preference for simple, filling meals that could satisfy hungry appetites quickly, especially on busy weeknights. Quick meatball subs became popular because they balanced comfort and speed, offering the richness of a meatball dinner with the portability of a sandwich. Often served at family dinners or casual gatherings, they appealed to both children and adults alike. Their widespread appeal stemmed from using accessible ingredients and straightforward cooking methods, making this dish a dependable part of many home cooks' repertoires. These sandwiches showcase how classic flavors were adapted to fit the lifestyle of post-war America. Waldorf salad cups were a clever way to serve the classic apple and celery salad in individual portions, making them perfect for parties or light meals. This recipe featured a refreshing mix of crisp apples, crunchy celery, walnuts, and sweet mayonnaise-based dressing, all scooped into lettuce leaves or small cups for easy handling. The cups allowed for neat, attractive presentation while offering a balance of textures and flavors that delighted the palate. Popular in the mid-20th century, Waldorf salad cups provided a convenient, mess-free alternative to traditional salads served on plates. The use of simple, fresh ingredients highlighted a trend toward salads that were both wholesome and visually appealing. These individual servings made it easy to enjoy a nutritious dish at gatherings, potlucks, or family dinners. The Waldorf salad cup exemplified mid-century America's desire to combine elegance with practicality in their culinary creations. Cottage cheese and fruit bowls offered a light and wholesome dish that paired creamy, mild cottage cheese with a variety of seasonal fruits. This combination was celebrated for its balance of protein and natural sweetness, making it a favored choice for breakfast, snacks, or light lunches. The simplicity of this dish made it highly adaptable, as any fresh or canned fruits could be used, including berries, peaches, or pineapple. Mid-century cooks appreciated its nutritional benefits and the quick assembly it required, fitting well with busy lifestyles. The dish also provided a refreshing contrast in textures, with the softness of the cheese complemented by the juicy firmness of the fruit. Cottage cheese and fruit bowls reflected the era's growing interest in health-conscious meals that did not sacrifice taste or convenience. This classic pairing remains a nostalgic favorite, reminding many of the straightforward yet satisfying dishes of their youth. Crispy potato pancakes were a beloved pan-fried dish made from grated potatoes, cherished for their golden crunch and comforting flavor. Perfect for breakfast or dinner, these pancakes used simple ingredients like shredded potatoes, eggs, and flour to bind them before frying in oil or butter. The recipe's appeal lay in its quick preparation and the satisfying contrast of a crisp exterior with a tender interior. Mid-20th century families often turned to potato pancakes as an economical way to stretch ingredients while delivering hearty, flavorful meals. The dish was popular in both rural and urban kitchens, often served with sour cream, applesauce, or gravy. Crispy potato pancakes embodied the era's emphasis on practical, filling food that could be made easily with pantry staples. Their enduring popularity speaks to the timeless appeal of simple, well-executed comfort food that warms both body and soul. Mini cornbread muffins were a staple in many American kitchens, prized for their quick baking time and delightful corn flavor. These small individual muffins were made from cornmeal batter, often enriched with buttermilk, eggs, and a touch of sugar or honey. The muffins were perfect for accompanying soups, stews, or barbecue, providing a slightly sweet and crumbly side that balanced savory dishes. Their convenient size made them ideal for portion control and easy serving at family meals or gatherings. Mid-century home cooks valued mini cornbread muffins for their simplicity and the comforting warmth they brought to the table. The recipe's popularity also reflected a Southern culinary influence that spread across the country during this period. Mini cornbread muffins continue to evoke fond memories of home-cooked meals and traditional American flavors. Peach Melba Parfait was an easy-to-make dessert that layered peaches, raspberry sauce, and whipped cream to create a visually appealing and flavorful treat. This parfait celebrated fresh or canned peaches combined with the tartness of raspberry sauce, balanced by the richness of whipped cream or sometimes custard. Its preparation required minimal effort, often involving assembling the ingredients in glasses or bowls and chilling briefly before serving. Popular during the mid-20th century, the dessert reflected the era's love for elegant but uncomplicated sweets that could be enjoyed at home or social occasions. Peach Melba Parfait offered a refreshing contrast of flavors and textures, making it suitable for warmer seasons or as a light finish to a meal. The dish is named after a famed opera singer, adding a touch of sophistication to an otherwise straightforward recipe. This parfait remains a nostalgic favorite for those who remember its delicate balance of sweetness and tartness. Bacon-wrapped dates were a quick and flavorful appetizer combining smoky, salty bacon with sweet, chewy dates. This simple yet indulgent dish provided a delightful contrast in taste and texture that made it a popular choice for parties and casual gatherings during the mid-century era. The recipe required minimal ingredients and little time, making it accessible to home cooks looking to impress guests without elaborate preparations. Bacon-wrapped dates reflected a trend toward finger foods that offered both richness and a hint of exotic sweetness, appealing to evolving palates. The dish also showcased the inventive use of contrasting flavors typical of the period's culinary experimentation. Its ease of preparation and crowd-pleasing nature helped cement its place on appetizer menus and family celebrations alike. Bacon-wrapped dates remain a beloved classic that represents mid-20th century America's knack for combining simple ingredients into memorable bites. Green bean almondine was a speedy and flavorful side dish that perfectly captured mid-century America's love for simple, elegant vegetables. This recipe involved sautéing fresh green beans in butter and tossing them with toasted almonds for a satisfying crunch. The dish was favored for its minimal preparation time and ability to elevate humble green beans into a sophisticated accompaniment. Its buttery richness paired with the nuttiness of almonds complemented a wide range of main courses, from roasted meats to casual dinners. Popular at family gatherings and holiday meals, green bean almondine offered a fresh yet indulgent way to serve vegetables. The recipe's success lay in balancing texture and flavor, while requiring only a few ingredients readily found in most kitchens. This dish reflected the era's trend toward incorporating fresh produce into everyday meals with straightforward, quick-cooking methods. Its continued popularity attests to its timeless appeal and the nostalgic memories it evokes of classic American home cooking. Ham and pineapple skewers were a delightful combination of sweet and savory flavors that became a hallmark of mid-20th century entertaining. These bite-sized skewers featured chunks of salty ham paired with juicy pineapple, often grilled or baked to meld the tastes together beautifully. The dish reflected the period's fascination with tropical ingredients, which were becoming more accessible and trendy in American kitchens. Ham and pineapple skewers were easy to prepare and served as popular appetizers at parties and family gatherings. Their contrasting flavors provided a refreshing balance, while the colorful presentation added visual appeal to any spread. This recipe showcased the culinary creativity of the time, merging familiar proteins with exotic fruit to create exciting new taste experiences. It was a crowd pleaser that required little effort but offered big flavor, making it a go-to for hosts looking to impress without spending hours in the kitchen. Ham and pineapple skewers remain a nostalgic reminder of the era's adventurous yet accessible approach to food. Turkey and cranberry wraps were a clever and quick lunch idea that made excellent use of holiday leftovers in mid-century America. This recipe wrapped slices of leftover roasted turkey with a spread of sweet cranberry sauce inside soft tortillas or flatbreads. It offered a perfect balance between savory and sweet, combining the hearty flavors of turkey with the bright tartness of cranberries. Turkey and cranberry wraps were appreciated for their speed of assembly and portability, making them ideal for packed lunches or light dinners. The dish reflected the era's emphasis on practicality and frugality, encouraging cooks to creatively reuse festive ingredients. Its fresh, vibrant taste made it appealing beyond the holiday season, extending its presence in everyday meals. This recipe highlighted how simple ingredients could be transformed into satisfying, flavorful options that fit the busy pace of post-war life. Turkey and cranberry wraps continue to evoke the warmth and resourcefulness of classic American cooking traditions. Cucumber and dill salad was a refreshing and speedy side dish that combined crisp, cool cucumbers with the bright, herbaceous flavor of fresh dill. This salad required minimal preparation, typically involving thinly sliced cucumbers tossed with a light dressing made from vinegar, sugar, and sometimes sour cream or yogurt. It was a popular choice in mid-century American kitchens for its clean taste and ease of assembly. Cucumber and dill salad offered a crisp contrast to heavier main courses, making it a welcome addition to summer meals and potlucks. Its use of fresh herbs and simple ingredients reflected the era's appreciation for fresh produce and balanced flavors. The salad's quick preparation made it accessible to cooks looking for fast, healthy options. Cucumber and dill salad remains a nostalgic favorite, celebrated for its bright flavors and straightforward charm that epitomize classic home cooking. Baked macaroni and cheese cups were an innovative take on a beloved comfort food, offering individual portions that cooked quickly and were perfect for family meals. These cups involved preparing traditional macaroni and cheese, then portioning it into muffin tins or ramekins before baking until golden and bubbly on top. This method allowed for convenient serving sizes and faster cooking times compared to larger casseroles. Baked macaroni and cheese cups appealed to mid-century families for their simplicity and ability to please both children and adults. The recipe made use of familiar ingredients like elbow macaroni, cheddar cheese, and milk, combining them into a portable, visually appealing form. It reflected the era's growing interest in convenience and portion control without sacrificing the creamy richness of classic mac and cheese. This dish continues to evoke warm memories of home-cooked meals and innovative twists on traditional recipes. Sliced tomato with mayonnaise and salt was a simple summer side dish that emphasized the natural freshness of ripe tomatoes while requiring minimal preparation. This dish featured thick slices of juicy tomatoes spread with a thin layer of mayonnaise and sprinkled lightly with salt to enhance flavor. It was a popular choice during the warmer months when fresh garden tomatoes were abundant. Sliced tomato with mayonnaise and salt offered a cool, creamy, and slightly salty accompaniment to grilled meats or sandwiches. Its appeal lay in the balance of textures and flavors, highlighting quality produce with very little fuss. This recipe reflected mid-century American cooking's appreciation for straightforward, quick side dishes that celebrated seasonal ingredients. Its continued presence on summer menus speaks to its enduring simplicity and refreshing taste. Sweet potato fries offered a fast and delicious way to enjoy an inexpensive seasonal root vegetable that was especially popular during mid-century America. These fries were typically prepared by slicing sweet potatoes into thin strips and cooking them quickly either in a hot oven or skillet with oil until crisp and golden. Sweet potato fries stood out for their natural sweetness and vibrant color, providing a tasty alternative to traditional potato fries. Their preparation was straightforward, requiring few ingredients and little time, making them accessible to home cooks of all skill levels. The dish capitalized on the affordability and availability of sweet potatoes during certain seasons, turning them into a crowd-pleasing snack or side. Sweet potato fries reflected the era's emphasis on practical, flavorful dishes that could be enjoyed quickly and easily. They remain a beloved comfort food that carries the warmth and nostalgia of classic American cooking. Fruit Jell-O with cottage cheese was a nostalgic dessert that combined the sweetness and jiggly texture of flavored gelatin with the creamy, mild tang of cottage cheese. This recipe involved layering or mixing prepared fruit-flavored gelatin with cottage cheese and often included chunks of fresh or canned fruit to add texture and flavor. It was popular in mid-century American households for its bright appearance and ease of preparation. Fruit Jell-O with cottage cheese appealed to families looking for a light, refreshing dessert that required minimal effort and used readily available ingredients. The dish reflected the era's fascination with molded gelatin desserts, which were often served at family gatherings and holiday meals. Its combination of sweet and creamy elements offered a pleasing contrast that made it memorable and comforting. This dessert remains a charming example of vintage American cuisine that continues to evoke fond memories. Quick slaw with vinegar dressing was a tangy and no mayonnaise coleslaw variant that became popular for its simplicity and refreshing taste. This salad featured shredded cabbage and carrots tossed with a vinegar-based dressing made from vinegar, sugar, oil, and seasonings, offering a lighter alternative to traditional creamy slaws. Quick slaw with vinegar dressing was appreciated for how fast it could be prepared, requiring no lengthy chilling or mixing of heavy ingredients. Its crisp, tangy flavor made it a favorite side dish for barbecues, picnics, and casual meals during the mid-20th century. This version of slaw fit well within the era's culinary trends, favoring easy-to-make, health-conscious dishes that complemented grilled or fried main courses. The recipe's reliance on pantry staples and fresh produce made it accessible to home cooks seeking quick, flavorful accompaniments. Quick slaw with vinegar dressing remains a nostalgic favorite that highlights mid-century America's practical approach to salads. Eggs in a basket, also known as toad in the hole, was a beloved quick breakfast treat that combined toasted bread with a fried egg nestled in the center. This simple dish involved cutting a hole in a slice of bread, frying it in a pan, and cracking an egg into the space, allowing the egg to cook surrounded by crispy bread. Eggs in a basket offered a satisfying combination of textures, with the crunchy toast contrasting the tender, runny yolk. It was popular in mid-century kitchens for its speed, minimal ingredients, and comforting appeal. This recipe was especially favored by families looking for easy breakfasts that required no complicated preparations. Eggs in a basket exemplified the era's practical approach to cooking, turning basic pantry staples into something special. Its enduring popularity is a testament to the timeless pleasure of simple, hearty meals enjoyed at any time of day. Crispy, fried green tomato slices were a beloved Southern-inspired snack and side dish popularized in the 1960s, made by thinly slicing unripe green tomatoes, breading, and pan-frying them until golden and crisp. This 10-minute recipe was cherished for its tangy, slightly tart flavor and crunchy texture, providing a satisfying contrast to heavier dishes. The tomatoes were often dipped in a simple batter or breading mixture seasoned with salt and pepper, then fried in hot oil for a quick, flavorful treat. Crispy fried green tomatoes were commonly served at family dinners, potlucks, and restaurants, representing Southern comfort food that gained national popularity during the decade. Their quick preparation and bold taste made them a favorite for those seeking easy yet delicious recipes. Though the dish has become a regional classic, it stands as a nostalgic reminder of the inventive, approachable cooking styles of the 1960s. Applesauce toast with nutmeg was the frugal breakfast tucked inside every homemaker column and Depression-era guide when groceries ran low but mornings kept coming. You would toast a slice of bread, smear it with applesauce, sprinkle a little nutmeg on top, and breakfast was done in under 10 minutes. It was practical, filling, and sweet enough to feel comforting when everything else felt stretched thin. Families leaned on meals like this when fruit was scarce, budgets were tight, and creativity had to carry the kitchen. Applesauce lasted longer than fresh fruit, nutmeg added warmth, and toast turned it all into a quick meal that actually filled you up. It was not fancy, but it worked, and you could find it everywhere from farm kitchens to city apartments. Some folks added butter, others kept it plain, but either way, it was one of those quiet little breakfasts that made hard mornings feel a little easier. These days, applesauce toast barely gets a mention, but back then it quietly carried families through. Though overshadowed by modern fast foods, quick chopped liver on rye endures as a testament to adaptability and rich culinary heritage. Historically, chopped liver found its niche in Eastern European Jewish homes, where families prized its affordability and robust nutritional profile. Even during times of scarcity, the recipe thrived, packing intense flavors into a straightforward package. With a ready-made liver spread slathered on dense rye, preparation becomes a breeze, sparing busy households from lengthy cooking sessions. Its smooth texture and savory notes contrast beautifully with the bread's satisfying crunch, lending each bite a subtle complexity that defies its simple construction. Many who sample this old favorite joke that it's a dish only a mother could love. But the punchline is in its enduring popularity across generations. Nutritional experts have long noted that organ meats supply essential vitamins, underscoring their practical value when shopping on a budget. By combining time-honored tradition with modern convenience, this dish proves that hearty meals needn't be complicated. Hot dog and baked bean skillet was one of those quirky 10-minute meals that could only have come from Grandma's old cookbook. You sliced up hot dogs, tossed them in a skillet, and poured in a can of baked beans. That was it. Dinner done. It sounds ridiculous now, but back when money was tight and every meal counted, this was comfort food at its quickest. The beans were filling, the hot dogs gave you just enough protein, and you could stretch one can to feed the whole family. Some folks got fancy with mustard or onions, but most kept it plain. It was the kind of dish that showed up after a long workday, when you were too tired to fuss with complicated recipes but still needed to put something on the table. It bubbled away on the stove, filling the kitchen with that warm, smoky smell that meant dinner was ready. Today, it feels like one of those meals we forgot on purpose, but for families back then, it was a lifesaver that showed up fast and kept bellies full. Jellied chicken salad cups were the quirky retro lunch you probably saw at your grandmother's house or flipped past in old homemaker guides. You made chicken salad, shredded chicken, mayo, celery, a little seasoning, and then set the whole thing in gelatin until it firmed up. It sounds strange now, but back then, this was peak luncheon presentation. You scooped the wobbly salad into lettuce leaves, added a sprig of parsley or a cherry tomato, and served it cold. It was light, chilled, and looked fancier than the ingredients actually were. These showed up at potlucks, garden parties, and quick family lunches when the oven stayed off and time was short. Gelatin molds made everything feel more polished, even when it came straight from leftovers and pantry basics. Old cookbooks loved recipes like this because they stretched food, required no cooking, and made lunch look impressive with barely any effort. It might feel out of place today, but jellied chicken salad cups were fast, filling, and weirdly fun when they first hit the table. Hot dog roll-ups were a favorite kid-friendly snack throughout the 1960s, consisting of hot dogs wrapped in crescent roll dough and baked to golden perfection. This quick recipe brought together the comforting familiarity of hot dogs with the flaky texture of crescent rolls, creating an easy-to-handle finger food loved at parties and lunchboxes alike. The rolls were assembled in minutes, making them a practical solution for parents needing fast and tasty snacks. The appeal of this dish lay not just in its flavor but also in its fun presentation, as the wrapped hot dogs resembled miniature pastries that children eagerly devoured. It captured the era's spirit of convenience and family-focused cooking, combining processed foods in clever ways to satisfy busy schedules. Though homemade versions have become less common with the rise of commercial snack foods, hot dog roll-ups remain a nostalgic emblem of quick and simple 1960s comfort food. Banana and wheat germ smoothies were the forgotten health food breakfast from the 1970s, back when nutrition guides promised energy in 10 minutes or less. You would blend a banana with milk, add a spoon of wheat germ, and maybe toss in honey if you had it. That was breakfast, quick, filling, and just trendy enough to feel like you were ahead of the curve. Parents loved it for being affordable, teens liked it for the simplicity, and health fads leaned hard on it as a protein-packed, no-fuss morning meal. It showed up in old diet books, homemaker columns, and those paper recipe handouts at grocery stores. Wheat germ was the health food of its time, promising fiber and nutrients without all the heavy cooking. Smoothies were new enough to feel exciting but easy enough to show up in every busy household. Somewhere along the way, this breakfast got lost behind flashy protein powders and complicated smoothie bowls, but back then, it quietly kept families full with nothing but fruit, milk, and a blender. Creamed corn and hot dog skillet was one of those meals that showed up when time was short and the cupboards looked bare. You sliced up those hot dogs, tossed them in a skillet, and let them simmer in a can of creamed corn until everything bubbled together. It sounds a little ridiculous now, but back then, it was comfort food at its most practical. This was not a recipe out of some fancy magazine. It came straight from the faded pages of those old spiral-bound cookbooks that every kitchen drawer seemed to have. Families on tight budgets loved it because it made use of pantry staples, and somehow that sweet corn and salty hot dog combination worked. You could dress it up with black pepper or a little hot sauce, but most folks kept it plain. After a long day, this dinner showed up in 10 minutes flat, filling your belly even if your wallet felt empty. Funny how those quick meals stick with you long after the hard times pass. Long before fancy nut butters dominated grocery aisles, a beloved combination of peanut butter and bananas reigned supreme in many American homes. Referred to fondly by some as the old-time peanut butter and banana sandwich, it gained traction in the mid-20th century as an affordable yet satisfying pick-me-up. Historians note that peanut butter became widely popularized in the United States in the early 1900s, while bananas, thanks to expanding imports, evolved into a household staple. This distinctive pairing offers both creamy consistency and a soft, subtly sweet bite that fuses into a delightfully nostalgic treat, promising convenience for busy families needing a quick snack. Some enthusiasts joke that the only challenging part is deciding whether to toast the bread, but the crucial element is the dreamy melding of textures. Accessibility, highlighted by easily sourced ingredients, underscores why the sandwich remains iconic despite changing food trends. It also provides a modest dose of potassium from bananas and protein from peanut butter, underscoring its practicality. Tomato and sugar. Open-faced sandwiches were one of those quirky summer snacks that showed up when gardens were full, money was tight, and lunch had to be quick and simple. You sliced a fresh tomato, buttered a piece of bread, sprinkled sugar over the top, and that was it. A little sweet, a little juicy, and ready in minutes. It sounds strange today, but back then, this was a familiar plate across farm towns and small kitchens all over America. The tomatoes were easy to grow, the bread stretched what you had, and the sugar turned it into a treat that brightened up long summer days. Families leaned on recipes like this when grocery lists were short, and mealtime had to be stretched with what was already growing out back. You would find this simple snack scribbled in old cookbooks, passed around at neighborhood picnics, or taught to kids as one of their first kitchen lessons. It might seem forgotten now, but for plenty of folks back then, tomato and sugar sandwiches were a fast, filling reminder of how far a little garden and a little creativity could go. Cracker Stack lunches were the shortcut every lunchbox kid quietly loved, and every parent threw together when time was short. You took Ritz crackers, layered slices of American cheese between them, and tossed in some apple slices on the side. It was simple, salty, and filled you up without needing to cook a thing. Old lunchbox guides always had this one listed because it hit that sweet spot between easy, affordable, and kid-friendly. Some folks swapped in peanut butter or ham, but the classic cheese and cracker combo stuck around the longest. It was not gourmet, but it got the job done. Quick, portable, and ready before the bus pulled up. It sounds basic now, but for families juggling busy mornings and tight grocery budgets, Cracker Stacks were a reliable lunch that needed zero effort to pull off. Cold radish and butter sandwiches were a charming garden-inspired treat popular in the 1960s, combining thinly sliced fresh radishes layered generously with butter on soft white bread. This straightforward recipe required little more than fresh radishes, softened butter, and bread, making it a quick snack or light lunch ideal for warmer months when garden vegetables were plentiful. The sharp, peppery bite of radishes contrasted beautifully with the rich creaminess of butter, offering a simple yet satisfying flavor experience. This sandwich celebrated fresh, seasonal ingredients and the pleasure of uncomplicated food. It was a common choice for tea parties, picnics, or afternoon snacks, embodying the era's appreciation for easy-to-make dishes that did not sacrifice taste or texture. Though less common today, cold radish and butter sandwiches evoke a nostalgic sense of homegrown simplicity and the joy of seasonal eating in mid-century America. Cottage cheese with canned fruit cocktail was the speedy, no-cook breakfast that lived in every 1970s diet book and homemaker guide, promising light meals that took barely any effort. You would scoop cottage cheese onto a plate, pour canned fruit cocktail over the top, and breakfast was done in under 10 minutes. Sweet, creamy, and surprisingly filling, it worked when mornings were busy, but everyone still needed something practical to eat. Families leaned on meals like this when groceries were tight, and dieters swore by it for being low effort and satisfying enough to skip the fancy recipes. It was a trick you could find tucked inside women's magazines, diet plans, and community cookbooks trying to stretch fruit and dairy into a real meal. Some folks added nuts or honey, others kept it plain. But either way, it quietly filled countless tables before frozen meals and boxed breakfasts took over. Funny how those quick, reliable meals slipped away. Peanut butter and sweet pickle sandwiches were one of those strange combinations that somehow became a regular part of vintage kitchen routines. You spread creamy peanut butter on soft sandwich bread, added sliced sweet pickles, and pressed it together. That was it. Quick, crunchy, and a little tangy with just enough sweetness to balance it out. It sounds odd now, but back then, it was a favorite for busy lunches, quick after-school snacks, or when there was not much else in the pantry. The peanut butter gave it richness, the pickles added bite, and together they made a sandwich that stuck to your ribs and kept you going. You would find this one scribbled in old recipe boxes passed around at church picnics or quietly tucked into Grandma's cookbook among the other quirky 10-minute meals. Families leaned on this recipe because it came together fast, filled you up, and used ingredients most people always had on hand. It might be forgotten now, but for plenty of households back then, peanut butter and sweet pickle sandwiches were a surprising lifesaver when time and money were both running short. Canned sardine and onion sandwiches were the bold, briny lunches that never pretended to be fancy, but quietly stuck around in old cookbooks for decades. You opened a can of sardines, layered them onto bread, added thin slices of raw onion, and called it lunch. That was it, done in minutes and packing more flavor than most people could handle. It was a Depression-era staple that kept going because sardines were cheap, lasted forever, and gave a salty, filling meal with almost no prep. Some folks added mustard or lettuce, but most kept it plain and sharp. The onions gave crunch and heat, the sardines brought salt and oil, and together, it was the kind of lunch that stuck with you, whether you liked it or not. Families leaned on meals like this because they filled you up when the fridge was empty and the grocery budget was tight. You could find this recipe tucked into old homemaker guides listed under quick lunches or pantry meals. It was strong, weirdly satisfying, and pure old-school practicality on a plate. Cold asparagus and mayonnaise salad was a simple and refreshing side dish featuring tender asparagus spears tossed in a light mayonnaise-based dressing and chilled before serving. Popular in 1960s America, this salad was often served at summer picnics, dinner parties, and holiday meals as a cool counterpoint to richer entrees. The mayonnaise dressing, sometimes flavored with lemon juice or herbs, added creaminess that complemented the crisp yet delicate texture of fresh asparagus. This salad was prized for its ease of preparation and elegant presentation, often arranged on lettuce leaves or decorative plates. It fit perfectly into the 10-minute recipe trend, providing a fresh vegetable option that required minimal cooking or fuss. Although tastes have shifted toward vinaigrette-based dressings, cold asparagus salad remains a nostalgic favorite for those who appreciate classic, creamy vegetable sides that evoke the charm of 1960s dining. Peanut butter and marshmallow sandwiches were one of those simple little joys that made their way into school lunches, church picnics, and kitchen tables across America. It did not take much. Just some soft sandwich bread, a good swipe of creamy peanut butter, and a generous helping of marshmallow fluff right out of the jar. The whole thing came together in under 10 minutes, but it stuck with you longer than that. It was sweet, sticky, and packed with that gooey marshmallow center that kids could not get enough of. Adults loved how fast and affordable it was, especially when grocery budgets were tight. You would spot this recipe scribbled on note cards, tucked into church cookbooks, or passed down by word of mouth from one busy home cook to another. It was a sugar rush, sure, but it was also a reminder of the quick comfort food that helped families stretch what they had. Funny how something that fast and that fun could quietly disappear from kitchen tables over time. Fried bologna with mustard on toast was the quick stovetop lunch that somehow managed to taste better than it had any right to. You sliced bologna, tossed it in a hot pan, watched it curl up at the edges, and slapped it on toasted bread with a smear of yellow mustard. That was it. Lunch in under 10 minutes. It was salty, tangy, crispy around the edges, and showed up everywhere from lunch counters to kitchen tables when the grocery list was running short. Bologna was cheap, lasted forever in the fridge, and frying it gave it just enough of a glow-up to make it feel like more than sandwich meat. Some folks added a slice of cheese or swapped in rye bread, but the classic stayed simple and fast. Fried bologna with mustard was not glamorous, but it hit the spot when you needed something filling, salty, and satisfying without much effort. It was a staple in school lunchrooms, factory break rooms, and busy homes, sticking around because it was affordable, reliable, and always ready when the clock was ticking. Frozen fruit and yogurt pops were a cool and healthy treat made by blending canned fruit with yogurt and freezing the mixture into popsicles, offering a refreshing dessert in minutes. This 10-minute recipe was popular in the 1960s as an easy way to use pantry staples to create homemade frozen treats that appealed to both children and adults. The combination of creamy yogurt and sweet fruit created a balanced flavor that was light and satisfying on hot days. These pops were typically made by mixing, pouring into molds, and freezing, requiring minimal effort while providing a wholesome alternative to commercial ice creams. This recipe exemplified the era's growing emphasis on convenience, nutrition, and family-friendly cooking. Though frozen desserts have become more varied and elaborate, frozen fruit and yogurt pops remain a nostalgic reminder of simple, wholesome pleasures from mid-century American kitchens. Cheese Dreams were the open-faced, melty sandwiches that turned plain old white bread into lunch in under 10 minutes. You laid out a slice of bread, topped it with American cheese, and stuck it under the broiler until bubbly and browned. If you had extras lying around, you could throw on a tomato slice or a strip of bacon, but most folks kept it simple. Cheese Dreams popped up in every old-school cookbook as a lifesaver for hungry kids, rushed workdays or weekends when grocery shopping had not happened yet. It was one of those lunches that made the most of cheap pantry basics, but still felt warm and filling. The cheese bubbled up golden and gooey, the edges of the bread crisped up just enough, and lunch was done before you even had time to set the table. Families loved it because it tasted good, cost next to nothing, and required zero effort. It was one of those old-fashioned meals that looked like a shortcut but stuck around because it simply worked when time and money were both tight. Quick macaroni and stewed tomatoes was one of those meals that showed up when there was not much left in the pantry, but families still needed dinner on the table fast. You boiled some elbow macaroni, opened a can of stewed tomatoes, and stirred it all together with salt, pepper, and a little butter if you could spare it. That was it. It sounds humble, but back when budgets were tight and grocery trips were rare, this simple stovetop meal came through. The pasta filled you up, the tomatoes added flavor, and it all came together in under 10 minutes. You would find recipes like this scribbled in old cookbooks, passed down from one generation to the next, or clipped from women's magazines that promised fast, filling meals on a shoestring budget. It might seem plain now, but quick macaroni and stewed tomatoes helped plenty of families stretch their groceries and make dinner happen, even on the hardest days. Chicken and celery salad cups were a refreshing and hearty cold dish that featured shredded cooked chicken combined with crunchy celery and creamy mayonnaise, served in crisp lettuce or endive cups. This 10-minute recipe was a favorite at 1960s cocktail parties and family gatherings for its convenience and attractive presentation. The chicken and celery mixture was lightly seasoned and chilled, providing a cool, satisfying filling that balanced the tender meat with fresh, crisp vegetables. Serving the salad in lettuce or endive leaves allowed for an elegant finger food option that was both light and filling. This dish showcased the era's talent for transforming simple ingredients into stylish, easy-to-eat appetizers. Though modern tastes have shifted towards different wraps and dips, chicken and celery salad cups remain a delightful example of mid-century American entertaining that combined speed, flavor, and sophistication. Tomato soup with cracker crumble was the ultimate quick fix when groceries were low and appetites were high. You heated up a can of tomato soup, crushed some saltines over the top, and called it a meal. It sounds basic, but it hit the spot. Grandma's cookbook was full of these quick, practical recipes that stretched every last pantry staple, and this one was no exception. The saltines soaked up the soup, adding just enough crunch and thickness to make it filling. Parents loved it because it cost next to nothing and came together in 10 minutes flat. Kids loved it because it was warm, salty, and familiar. You could always dress it up with a sprinkle of cheese or some pepper, but most families kept it plain and simple. It was the kind of meal you would find after school, in chilly weather, or on those nights when there just was not time for anything else. Fast, affordable, and quietly forgotten, like so many of the recipes tucked into the back pages of Grandma's old cookbook. Tomato soup with cracker crumble was the ultimate quick fix when groceries were low and appetites were high. You heated up a can of tomato soup, crushed some saltines over the top, and called it a meal. It sounds basic, but it hit the spot. Grandma's cookbook was full of these quick, practical recipes that stretched every last pantry staple, and this one was no exception. The saltines soaked up the soup, adding just enough crunch and thickness to make it filling. Parents loved it because it cost next to nothing and came together in 10 minutes flat. Kids loved it because it was warm, salty, and familiar. You could always dress it up with a sprinkle of cheese or some pepper, but most families kept it plain and simple. It was the kind of meal you would find after school, in chilly weather, or on those nights when there just was not time for anything else. Fast, affordable, and quietly forgotten, like so many of the recipes tucked into the back pages of Grandma's old cookbook. Honey mustard ham wraps were a speedy, flavorful handheld snack consisting of thin slices of ham rolled with honey mustard and fresh lettuce, perfect for lunch or light bites. This 10-minute recipe combined the sweet tang of honey mustard with savory ham and crisp greens, offering a balanced taste that was both satisfying and easy to prepare. Popular during the 1960s when convenience and flavor were equally important, these wraps could be assembled quickly with minimal ingredients and no cooking required. They were perfect for packed lunches, casual gatherings, or buffet tables. This recipe reflected the era's increasing interest in portable, ready-to-eat foods that did not sacrifice taste. While modern wraps have evolved with a variety of fillings and sauces, honey mustard ham wraps remain a classic example of quick and delicious mid-century recipes designed to please busy families and entertaining hosts alike. Egg salad on toast was one of those practical 10-minute meals that filled lunch boxes, fed tired workers, and showed up in every community cookbook for good reason. Leftover boiled eggs were never wasted. You chopped them up, mixed them with mayonnaise, maybe a little mustard if you were lucky, and piled it all onto a slice of toast. It sounds plain, but it got the job done. The eggs were filling, the toast made it portable, and you could whip it up in no time flat. This was not about fancy ingredients or gourmet flavors. It was the kind of recipe people leaned on when money was tight, time was short, and families still had to eat. You would see it at church luncheons, quick weekday dinners, or scribbled down on worn recipe cards tucked into kitchen drawers. It might be forgotten now, but egg salad on toast kept plenty of households going when they needed it most. Cabbage and hot dog stir-fry was the skillet lunch that popped up in every budget cookbook from the 1970s, and it stuck around because it worked. You chopped cabbage, sliced up hot dogs, threw them in a hot pan with a little oil, and stir-fried the whole thing until crispy and tender. It was salty, smoky, crunchy, and came together in under 10 minutes. This recipe lived in frugal households, school cafeterias, and quick lunch guides because it used the cheapest ingredients possible and still filled you up. Cabbage was a go-to vegetable for stretching meals, and hot dogs were always around because they lasted forever in the fridge. Toss them together, add a little pepper or hot sauce, and lunch was ready fast. Some folks added onions or garlic, but most kept it simple, just cabbage and hot dogs sizzling in the pan. It was not fancy, but it was reliable, warm, and made sure nothing went to waste when groceries were tight. Curried cottage cheese spread was a flavorful cold dish that blended creamy cottage cheese with curry powder and fresh herbs, designed to be spread on crackers or toast. This recipe emerged during the 1960s when Americans were beginning to experiment with global flavors, incorporating mild curry spices into familiar dairy-based foods. The result was a spread that combined tanginess, spice, and creaminess, offering a unique twist on standard cheese spreads. It was quick to prepare, requiring only mixing of ingredients, making it an ideal 10-minute recipe for parties or light snacks. This spread reflected the era's growing curiosity about international cuisines and the desire to introduce new tastes into everyday meals. While curried cottage cheese spread is less common today, it remains a fascinating example of mid-century culinary experimentation and the blending of convenience with exciting flavors. Tell us your favorite quick vintage recipe below, like the video, and subscribe for more delicious discoveries.